Well, if you thought all hope was lost for the Dallas Cowboys, you wouldn't be alone. 3-5-1 after last night's debacle against the Arizona Cardinals. But Scotty Swingler and I come out firing today. The Mosley Show. Well, as we're coming on today and as we were preparing to come out, Cowboys make a major trade. They made a smaller trade earlier today for a linebacker. There it is. We go to the newsroom to break this news. The Cowboys, and I mean, it's, and you know, we're going to need to look, Scotty, one thing we need to look at is see what his current deal is, what deal they inherit from the Jets, because that'll tell us, because, I mean, you know, like how long they'll have him moving forward. But this is, and Schefter's got the, we've got it right up there on the screen, and you see that the Jets receive a 2026 second-round pick and a 2027 first-round pick, and Mozzie Smith, the Cowboys' former first-round pick that they're finally washing their hands of. He's been inactive in a few games this year, and it just has not worked out with the Cowboys, so we'll see if he has any future. But, whoa, yeah, you wondered, you know, if Jerry would dip into those 4 first-round picks. Of course, they got 2 for Micah, and there goes one of them. There goes one of them for Quinnen Williams. And the Jets have just been, I mean, you talk about acquiring some picks. They had already traded Sauce Gardner earlier today to the Indianapolis Colts for 2 first-round picks, which is a big enough deal. But then to turn around, and this is, you know, I'd call it a fire sale, but my gosh, they're getting huge assets in this deal. So if the Jets ever have anybody that they hire that has any clue what they're doing in terms of personnel and in terms of drafting, they could do some really big things here. I mean, the thing, Scotty, we've always said about the Jets is, you know, obviously Aaron Rodgers got hurt last year. They haven't been able to put it together. They haven't had the right quarterback. At times, they've had really good defensive players. And they've had decent defenses. It's just they can't put the whole thing together. And now they're moving along 2 of their biggest pieces. And this is a bigger, let's call this what it is. This is, and boy, welcome to our whole Twitter audience. And one of the reasons we were a little delayed today is Scotty and I were getting all our ducks in a row and getting, we think that we now will every day be able to reach out to you, and a lot of people that follow me will be able to follow our show on Twitter, and we'll tell you more about that moving forward. But this is big news. I mean, last night, you know, I was with Jerry late. We're always on the scene when it comes to Rogue Media Network and what we do on a daily basis. I was there with Jerry late last night. He looked like he'd seen a ghost. You know, he was not wanting to say whether or not he had a deal done. He had hinted that he had a deal done, but it hadn't been consummated yet. And as we get, I mean, we're 1 o'clock here. We're right up against the deadline, the trade deadline. Cowboys make a big one. This is not, I mean, Logan Wilson is a decent linebacker to help their linebacking core. Quinnen Williams is, I knew Jerry did not want to give up premium picks for a pass rusher, because it would have been some sort of admission that, hey, we miss Micah. We don't have any kind of pass rush, which they have a hint of a pass rush. They did sack Jacoby Brissett a few times last night, but they didn't do much else against him, and he sliced and diced them up and down the field. This is, again, is Quinnen Williams going to come in here and save the season? No, he is not. Now, Scotty's kind of looking to see. Scotty, let's talk a little bit about like the Quinnen Williams contract, because a lot of these people that the Jets are trading, like Sauce Gardner, for instance, have done big deals. You know, Garrett Wilson, their receiver, they're kind of wondering if they would move him. What is the Quinnen Williams current deal and how much longer is on it. This, again, a 27-year-old defensive tackle. He immediately becomes the Cowboys' best defensive tackle, and you put him with Kenny Clark, you put him with Ozigadua, and you have the makings of a pretty talented defensive line. What kind of contract status are we talking about, Scotty?
Yeah, he is halfway through a 4-year, $96 million contract extension. He signed in 2023, so he's got 2 years left on that 4-year deal. And it should be noted, because I was trying to get a little more information about what the Cowboys are getting here. He, according to Pro Football Focus, is the highest graded run stopping interior lineman in the NFL. He does have, let me pull this back up. He does have 40 sacks in his career. This is his 7th year in the league. So can get to the passer, but certainly more of a run stuffer. Averages about, we're looking at about 50 to 60 tackles a season. So that's what the Cowboys are getting here for. And kind of a steep price in my mind, but you gave away a first and a second for this guy. So, but you're right. If he's healthy, Kenny Clark's healthy, that's really stout up front.
Yeah. And I can't help but think of Jerry. This is kind of a lifeline. And this is, we screwed it up. We keep firing these defensive coordinators. We're horrible on the back end. This is to fortify one part of the team, which they kind of liked. Honestly, the way Ezraku's playing, Fowler had a sack last night. In fact, Jadeveon Clowney had a sack last night. They like some of their defensive line. They've been horrible at linebacker. They just got guys out chasing cars. They've been horrible on the back end. They're bad at safety. So, again, I mean, let's call this what it is. It doesn't save the season. It's for Jerry, it is, hey, we stink. I haven't given up on this team. And then this will also help with our future. That's good, Scotty. That's good information. I just wanted to make sure where we had him in his contract. And so if I'm hearing you correctly, Scotty, does this go through 2027? Is that right? You said it halfway through. Okay, through 2027. And again, lot of the guaranteed portion, huge signing bonus that he received has already been doled out to him. So if I'm doing the math correct, Scotty, this thing comes in probably at about, what'd you say the full deal was when he did it? 90, did you say 90, how much million?
96 million.
Okay. All right. So anyway, a lot of this, again, the Jets have already covered quite a bit of this contract, but now you still have big money coming back because you're now, I mean, let's think about it. You've got 2 cornerbacks who make really big money per year. You got a quarterback who makes huge money. You have one wide receiver in CD who makes about 35 or 36 million a year. And now you have a defensive lineman who probably, if I'm doing the math in my head, for these next couple of seasons for 2026-27 would make somewhere in the neighborhood of 30 million a year, 28 to 30 million a year, somewhere around there. So you're and we'll get all the details, all the final details. Now, Scotty had a good, I mean, from a run stopping standpoint, and boy, this team gives up yardage in the pass. They get gashed in the run. You know, last night I found myself, I'm like, who's that for the Cardinals? DeMarcado? And I'm like, that name sounds familiar because he played for TCU. I think he was on that TCU team that played for the national championship. He was on that team for TCU. Not great. I mean, they may have taken him in the 4th or 5th round that year. Again, the Cardinals came in a 2-5 team, and if you looked at their defense last night, and you looked at I mean, they're some of those guys are like, one of those guys has got to be like 36 to 38 years old. Calais Campbell. I mean, he's old. He's old. Walter Nolan's young. He was a draft pick out of Ole Miss, used to be with A&M. Sweat was real good with the Eagles. Josh Sweat, he came over. He was number 10 for the Cardinals last night. And I found myself thinking, Budda Baker's a good player at safety. I'm like, I would in a heartbeat trade the Cowboys defense for the Arizona's defense. And that's not a good team. Arizona's not a good team. They came into that game 2-5, and they just wiped the place up with the Cowboys. I mean, both sides of the ball. Cowboys only sort of were hanging around. They got a punt block for a touchdown. They had a special teams moment, and then they do what they always do. They're down 24-7, and they made a little bit of a comeback. They're like, oh, here come the Cowboys. Oh, my gosh. And then they fumbled and gave the ball back. But, again, that's what we were going to be talking about. Jerry does know how to change the conversation, and now he gets Quinnen Williams, the Jets, and Scotty, I'm seeing some I'm seeing the Twitter fear, out there with like Garrett Wilson standing there like Will Smith in The Prince of Bel-Air, in that famous scene where he's just standing there by himself in that room and no furniture. And I think Wilson may have been left behind. I mean, they are claiming draft picks all over the place. Cowboys, again, give up a second-round pick 2026 and a first-round pick 2027. All right? So, again, when the clock turns 2026, they'll have their first-round pick, and they'll still have the one they got for Micah. One of those ones, one of the first. So they had 4 first-round picks. There's Scott. There he is. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of that. I'm seeing a lot of Garrett Wilson by the end of the day. I like that. Garrett's just standing in there like the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. So, Scotty, it's been a busy day. You saw, I jumped on FS1 with Colin Cowherd. It was more about Jerry and, why does he not respect head coaches, blah, blah, blah. And suddenly the Cowboys make a big deal. My interview with Colin was cut short because the Jets did the deal with Sauce Gardner to the Colts. I mean, that's a huge swing. That Colts are 7-2. They got Daniel Jones as their quarterback. They just came off a loss, but they're still in great shape in the AFC, and they came out swinging. That's a big swing. The Cowboys are never, they're usually never sellers. They did it with Micah because Jerry let that deal get personal, and now Micah is with the Packers. Now, hey, here they are today, 3-5-1, a team going nowhere, and they took a big swing. This message is similar. Now, again, I don't think he's going to have the impact that Amari Cooper had when they made that trade back in, Scotty, 2018. I think they made that trade with Amari Cooper, and they had to give up a first-round pick to do it. And they did save that season. They did save that season, and they turned the season around. This team does not feel good enough. There's no semblance of anything on defense. The offense last night against the Cardinals that were 2-5 just kind of short-circuited, didn't put up points. The head coach won't kick field goals. He's the Dave Aranda of the NFL. He's just out there like, hey, I'm not okay. 4th and goal from the 4-yard line. We're going. He gets sacked. Didn't even have a play. Didn't even have to play. And then later they were down there on 4th down, tries to throw across the field to CeeDee Lamb. That was a mess. Of course, Dak had people in his face all night. And people are always quick to take up for Dak and all that. That's fine. I did want to say to you, Scotty, looked at some numbers of how Dak performs against some of the better teams. Scotty, he can also lose to bad teams. All right. I did want to go ahead and bring that up because they did it against the Cardinals. They had been great at home against some of these bad teams. He'd put up huge numbers, and against a decent team with the Packers, he put up huge numbers, and they had to tie. They tied that game, but against the Cardinals, they could not get it done. Now we got some college basketball coming up. Scotty took a trip out to see the Bears. We got a lot going on. We started a little bit late today, so tell you what we're going to do, because we got to reset. We got huge Cowboys breaking news. I'm going to gather some more information. I'm going to talk to some more people. We're going to keep going down this path. So we'll do some college, and we'll do a little college basketball. That was fun. I want to hear Scotty's take on that. We'll do that as we get into the 2:00 hour. But for now, we're going to keep jamming on Cowboys trade. They trade Mozzie Smith, which is, by the way, I should not ever lead with that. Mozzie's just kind of like I don't know if you can call him a sweetener. I mean, in fact, he's more of a bitter guy. You got a first-round pick and a second-round pick have been traded for Quinnen Williams of the Jets. We'll take care of our partners real quick, and they'll come back, and we'll keep reacting to a huge trade for the 3-5-1 Dallas Cowboys. That's next.